I'll tell you what we're doing here. We are here because you were kind enough to buy this Metal Mind Productions Roadrunner reissue of Set the World on Fire. It's a record by, of course, as you know, Annihilator. We did that album in 1993. Went out on, that was our third record for Roadrunner Records at the time. And that's it. It was a follow-up to probably our biggest album, sales-wise, to date, which was Never Neverland. It was at a time when some bands were going one way and other bands were going another. We went that way, and some bands went that way. That way was a little more melodic, a little more rock, commercial metal mixed in with our metal that we've been doing on the previous two albums. But because we've always had, and I've always had, a lot of melody in the stuff that I've listened to and liked, my influences, so that of course comes into your music. Sometimes you get everything from love songs to pop sounding stuff with Annihilator and my music writing, to thrash songs with some humorous sections in them, some jazz and blues occasionally, lots of stuff about life, good and bad in life, observations, things that we notice in life and all this stuff. But I think on the Set the World on Fire album, that was probably the first record where we decided to go consciously. Probably the first and only record we decided to say, well, you know what, things are changing here in the music business. We didn't know exactly how, but let's go this way, because Waters, you like to write ballads and classical guitar things and melodic things, so why don't you lean towards that direction? So I had management and label suggesting I go one way, and I gladly went with it. It wasn't their fault at all. They didn't force me to go this way, but since I love this kind of music, all kinds of music, it was fun. It was an easy thing for me to do, to write more melodically, and in the end, believe it or not, I think some of the best songs I've ever written are on Set the World on Fire. Not necessarily the heaviest songs, but I've kind of grown out of that phase where if something wasn't heavy, it wasn't good. There's good heavy, there's good light, there's good pop, there's good every kinds of music, there's good and bad in all of it. But anyway, I like the more melodic stuff as well, and if you followed our career since 1993, since this third Annihilator record, Set the World on Fire, you've noticed that on the next, how many after that one now? 9 records after that? 9 or 10 records after this, Set the World on Fire, I got to slip in some ballads and some melodic and jazz and blues parts and all this kinds of stuff. Anyway, I'm going to stop babbling too much. I'll give you, because I like to babble for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe it's the coffee. But this is, I'm holding in my hands a pile of CDs here. I don't know how many there are, but these are the ones I found in my studio shelf. Different versions related to Set the World on Fire. That's a Phoenix Rising single that came out. Then there's this one, Set the World on Fire single. It had Hellbent for Leather on it, of course, by the mighty Judas Priest. Then we had, later in life here, we had the Roadrunner 2-for-1 deal. What was this one here? Yeah, 2 from the vault. 2 groundbreaking records for the price of 1. And Set the World on Fire and a live record was on that one. And here's the Roadrunner Slimline series version of Set the World on Fire. I have no idea what that means. Maybe a slimmer case. But if you notice here on their little sticker, there seems to be a hand grabbing a whole bunch of money. No idea what that's about. But money's a good thing, isn't it? And this was, I think, the original Digipack version that came out in '93. Had some really cool poser pictures inside it, eh? Isn't that awesome? Okay, and then that's hard to see it, but anyway, it's a really rare Digipack thing. So if you see this on eBay, this guy, Digipack, Set the World on Fire, get it, because you'll have to outbid me, because I'm on there once in a while bidding on my own CDs that I don't have anymore, like these ones. Got one, got off eBay. Anyway, this record kind of started off strangely. We finished our second record in well, our second record was Never Neverland. Probably my favorite Annihilator CD, and definitely, as I said, the biggest selling one, and the one that we're most known for, I think. And that gave us a lot of opportunities. So here comes 1991. We just finished a couple of years of touring for the record Never Neverland. We finished off with headline tours in Japan and all this fun stuff we were doing, but we also finished it off by doing the Painkiller tour with Judas Priest in 1991 through Europe, which was of course an honor. And after that, I think a few of us had partied so much. We shared a bus with Pantera for a couple of months, so that's not an excuse, but that certainly contributed to it. And we certainly contributed to them, alcohol abuse wise. But anyway, so we got off the tour sometime in May of 91, and then Annihilator hit a bottom point after that. We had a fair amount of success very fast, and it was just one big party and a lot of fun and had a lot of good times. But after that, I mean, myself personally, I came back and I was just an alcoholic mess. Came back and things were a mess in my personal life, so I had to sort those out, and I did. It took me about a year to try to get things together, and in that time there was a few other guys in the lineup, Never Neverland, that were having similar problems. Some figured them out, some didn't. The guys back together in, when was it, 92, to sort out the new Annihilator CD. Why am I down like this? Hang on a second. Put a CD under here. So we got the guys back together to try to put a new record together. I'd been writing a little bit, and we managed to get Coburn and Ray Hartman, our drummer, Coburn Farr, our singer, and myself together, and Wayne Darley, bass player, and some of us, myself and one of them, or myself and two of them, or just by myself, would write songs for the new record. But there was a bunch of things happening with a few of the other guys, and we ended up losing Coburn Farr, although we did record some demos with him for the Set the World on Fire album. Our singer Coburn Farr left. Ray Hartman left, although he was on the record, Set the World on Fire record. He was on the song Sounds Good to Me, Hellbent for Leather by Priest, the bonus track, and Snake in the Grass. So Ray Hartman did appear on the Set the World on Fire record on 2 songs, plus the bonus. Wayne Darley stuck around with us, and anyway, so we kind of ended up with, once again, our third singer in 3 albums. Young kid called Aaron Randall came in. I think he was probably 18, 19 years old. And I played the guitar and bass on the record. Mike Mangini came in, a friend of his, Neil Goldberg, who was the new guitar player in Annihilator at that point, suggested I get this kid from Boston, who's a wonder drummer, wonder kid, wonder musician, genius drummer, and I thought, yeah, sure. So Mike auditioned, and I think right away we all knew that Mike was something extremely special and rare, and of course he turned out to be one of the most incredible drummers probably in the history of drumming, and most drummers would agree to that. And if you don't, go check him out on his MikeMangini.com and you'll know what I mean. That was one of the great honors for me, and the cool things about being in Annihilator is I've got the opportunity to meet and work with and make music with some of the best players out there, and Mangini and the band off and on for years as the drummer has been quite a highlight for me personally. I ended up leaving Roadrunner after Set the World on Fire, but from then on I made sure that I incorporated melody into a lot of my albums. I've done, 9 records since this Set the World on Fire album, and I've really made sure that I kind of stick to who I am. It sounds a little cheesy, but I am angry sometimes, I'm happy, I'm sad, I'm jealous, I'm hurt, I'm, everything, any emotions that you have, and that comes out of my songs. I'll write everything from a love song or a ballad to an angry F you, type of tune, or I'll have some crazy stuff like Brain Dance or some weird songs, or anyway. So Set the World on Fire was recorded in, I think, early 93 or late 92, early 93. I think both. And it was done in New Westminster, BC, recorded in Fiasco Studios. It was a studio we recorded Alice in Hell in 1989. And it's pretty much a demo studio. It was kind of like a real low budget place, and but that was the beauty of it for us, was that we could afford to go in there, and the owner of the studio gave us a good deal. I gave my manager a good deal. And we were able to spend some good quality time in there to do the record the way we wanted to do it. And it was kind of, I remember that because there was no air conditioning in the building, and it was 100 degrees every day, 30 degrees Celsius, plus the heat from the gear, the equipment. So we were all in there in our shorts, just sweating while we were doing our tracking. And I can remember doing tracks one day, and we heard a saw cutting through the wall right by our head, and it was the owner of the studio putting in a new air conditioner for us. But anyway, Fiasco Studios was kind of a lot of good memories out of that place, and we recorded that. What happened here? And we did the drum tracks at a place called Creation Studios, which was a studio owned by former Loverboy, or no, actually they're still going, Loverboy guitarist Paul Dean, who we later went to his home studio to mix King of the Kill. Anyway, we did the drum tracks with Mike Mangini, and that was pretty interesting because we brought on Max Norman to produce and engineer the drums. And Max Norman, for those who may not know, is a big part of metal history. He recorded the early Ozzy albums, Blizzard of Oz, Diary of a Madman, I think some of Megadeth's material, maybe Rust in Peace, I'm not sure. He recorded some Sabbath. Just the fact that he recorded Randy Rhoads and got Randy Rhoads' guitar sound was enough for me. But we didn't hire him for that. We hired him to do the drums with Mike Mangini, and that worked out just fine. And after that, yeah, what happened? I think we mixed the record in Fiasco Studios. No, we didn't. That's a lie. We mixed the record at the famous Little Mountain Studios in Vancouver, Canada, where a lot of great records were made over the years. Everything from some Metallica to Coverdale Page, Motley Crue albums, just Aerosmith, Pump, and all that stuff. A lot of amazing albums were being made in Vancouver at Little Mountain Studios at that time. So it was kind of fun for me to go in there. And I met lots of nice people and lots of good, the Aerosmith guys. Got to meet Bryan Adams and all these rock stars, which is kind of interesting, especially when you're kind of starting out in a way in the business, and you're in a band that's not going to have big commercial success, but you get to at least meet the big stars and see what their life is like, and appreciate what you have that they don't, and vice versa. Wish that you had what they had too. So it's kind of fun. But a lot of them are normal people, which was a cool part of meeting some of these people. And one of the guys I met was a really nice guy, name of Bryan Adams. And we ended up going into his studio to mix the song called Phoenix Rising. It's the ballad, one of the two ballady songs on the Set the World on Fire record. And so Phoenix Rising was mixed at Warehouse Studios in North Vancouver. Now Warehouse Studios is in Vancouver, and it's a big fancy studio, but when I mixed it, the song at Warehouse Studios, it was done in Bryan Adams' house. So that was kind of trippy right there. I'm trying to mix an album, looking around going, wow, this is cool, I'm in Bryan Adams' house. But that was nice. He was a nice guy, and really cool little place to record. And let me see, we did the record. Then after the record, we had to do a video, and we planned on doing a video for the song Set the World on Fire. And I can remember this one pretty good. It's funny now, but it wasn't funny at the time. I remember we were given a budget by Roadrunner to do a video, which you're going to see on this DVD, I think, or CD, or video CD, or whatever. And our manager was sent the money, to do the video, and originally we were supposed to go to Red Rocks in Arizona to shoot it. It's supposed to be a really good budget, great looking video, and somehow our manager ended up putting us on a barge, big boat, in the middle of, in front of a oil refinery in Burnaby, British Columbia, late at night, with probably freezing, well, about 0 degree freezing temperatures, with no lights. Somehow the big pile of money that came in for the video ended up being this much, and the company the video company couldn't afford the proper lights to light up the barge, the boat where we were going to play. So we did the video, finished it. I went a week later to look at it in the video editing suite or studio, and it was all black. It was all pitch black, and there was only small parts of the video where you could see that we were a band playing on a boat, which was a silly idea anyway. So it turned out that the big, what happened was I think after Roadrunner Records boss and people saw that video, I think they got on the phone right away with the manager and said, get your ass down here to New York right now on the next plane. And my manager and I flew down there while the boss read us the riot act, basically gave us shit, for good reason. We'd taken a whole bunch of money to do a video, and I wasn't managing the band at the time. I wasn't even a part of knowing about the business then. I hadn't started learning about the business till about 94. Anyway, in 93, the money never went for the right things, I guess, and it was one of the worst videos ever made. I think I have a copy of it. Worst video, the lowest budget, worst video. And so the president of Roadrunner, Case Wessels, was a good guy, and he actually gave us another chance, which was pretty nice, and but said, this time we're going to give you a budget of this much money, but we're not going to give the money to your manager. We are going to oversee the whole video, and Scott Givens, who was A&R guy, worked for Roadrunner then, works with I think Koch International now, I think, Koch USA, and he was put in charge of making sure that the video happened properly, and it did. Then we went, I think for like $40,000 or something US, which is, I don't know what that is in euros, but let's say 30,000 euros, whatever. We went down to Los Angeles near the airport and shot in 2 days, shot a video called Set the World on Fire. And that was considered a very low budget back then, but of course we'd already wasted the money already on the first butchered video. So we did the Set the World on Fire video. It was a fantastic video, it worked out just great, and phew, we got out of that one, thanks Case. But after that record, we were set. We were going to go out and do the tours, and what did we do? I think we went over and we did a headline tour in Europe. We also played at the Dynamo Festival in 1993. It's in Holland. I don't know how many people there, 60, 80,000 people, whatever, but I think it may be the biggest crowd that Annihilator's ever played for. What else? We did a really fun summer headline tour there. Oh, I can't remember. That's a long time ago. We went to Japan. That was very successful. That was the beginning of our good success in Japan. After that Set the World on Fire album, our next couple of records did very big over there. So that was a good one for us. We came back, and this is when I knew something was wrong. Here we are, Roadrunner Records. Actually, in the US, we moved over to Sony. And we ended up, I was wanting to know, what are we doing for tours in the States? And my manager got us a tour supporting a band called Lillian Axe. That's about the time when I said, okay, this is probably the end of the band. It's time to go home. And I think we found out that we were dropped by Roadrunner Sony. And that was it. I went back off that tour, and that's how I thought the career of Annihilator was going to end, which was a reasonably good album called Set the World on Fire, and some good European touring and Japanese shows, and then to end it off, have a 2-3 weeks supporting Lillian Axe on the East Coast. And that was the end of the band, I thought. So I went back, we lost the deal, I regrouped again, because at that point I kind of disbanded the band. I just sort of told the guys I think it's probably over with and that was it. And I was debating what I was going to do with my music career or whatever career I had, or wanted to start a new career and all that, and it didn't take me longer than about a month to realize that, of course, it's in the blood. You know, if you like metal and you like music, you can't kill it. You can't get it out of your blood. It's there. All of a sudden, I realized really quickly that no, maybe it's not over. Maybe I still got lots of good things left to offer musically. And so I wrote the King of the Kill record, and was very surprised that Music for Nations picked it up for all of Europe, and a great Japanese label picked it up, and I was back in business. So I guess we're past the story of Set the World on Fire, quite a bit past, but Set the World on Fire was a very pivotal album. It was a negative thing because I lost the deal with Roadrunner, and we lost some fans that were fans of the real heavy Annihilator songs from the early two albums, but we also gained a lot of fans from this album, and in Asia and Europe. And thanks to the Set the World on Fire record, we got a new perspective on things, a new way to look at all the business and look at the changes and all that. And pretty much I decided I don't care what the music business does, I don't care what the trends are, just make your metal. And that's what I've done ever since 1993, since Set the World on Fire album. Annihilator has had various stages of success. As some of you might already know, we've had some very successful records after the Roadrunner years. And put out, what, about 9 records? 8-9 records after Set the World on Fire. Alrighty, so there you go. Set the World on Fire, very important record. It's still going strong, even though the trend changed. We didn't. Alright, we're there. We love you. Thanks very much for listening to this babble. And I hope you like the new Set the World on Fire remastered version. I remastered it here in Watersound Studios. Okay, here.
Wings on fire, tearing into the night, and we'll fly away.